fresh off the live stream, Sherrone Moore has been sentenced to 18 months probation and a $1,000 fine for his actions around entering the apartment of one Paige Shriver and a stern talking to from the judge who did the sentencing. Let's talk about what else there is to say about Chiron Moore, Michigan, and this sordid affair. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching Adapt and Respond, thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year round. If you're into that, hit that subscribe button, like this video, answer the question in the comments below. Do you think the judge is right in how he spoke to Chiron Moore and the sentence that he was, awarded is the wrong word, punished with? Okay. So headline here, former Michigan head coach Chiron Moore, 18 months probation, court fines totaling $1,000, must not have any contact with Paige Shriver or any kind of mention of her on social media, plus no use of alcohol or marijuana, must continue with treatment. Okay, cool. It could have been much, much, much worse, but I'm still going to get to the Thanos question of it. I am. For those of you that living underneath that particular rock, congratulations. It's been you, Grace, and an Iridian out there in deep space trying to save the world. Thank you so much for your kindness, even though I hope they didn't put you in a coma against your will, taking away anything like self-determination and going, sorry, partner, it ain't got nothing to do with what you want. It's got everything to what we want, and I don't want to wait another 30 years in this hellscape of our own creation. So please, no, not please, you gonna get your behind on that plane and take that plane to the far reaches of the friggin' universe to another sun, all because we selfish about what we want from you. Yeah, I got feelings about your little movie, your little Project Mary. Man, some of y'all really do need to have a conversation about whether or not you want somebody to have free will, because it don't sound like you do, dog. Y'all don't want anybody to have no free will. You don't want nobody to be able to make no mistakes that might also endanger you. That's called being a human. It's one of the reasons I'm writing this book called Prime on the Prescient Pressures of Black Folks. Chiron Moore might be an essay in this book, dog, the more I think about it. This is actually one of the things that I really want to discuss. It's why I'm writing about Deion Sanders, Lewis Hamilton, Michael B. Jordan, Will Smith, Jada Pinkett Smith, and a host of other luminaries in black spaces. If you already want to say something about race down in the comments below, go right ahead. I'll read it and keep going. But you know who I am. You know what I'm doing here. I feel like I've earned this with the audience, so I'm going to say this. Chiron Moore is a walking, talking Black history fact. I do not take that lightly. And for those of you that don't want to talk about his race, well, damn it, I do. But we ain't deep out here, dog. There's only 13% of this country is Black. Only 6% of it is Black and male, right? I take tremendous pride in what I do for a living. I take no chances. And I am observant every day of the gift of not just being in the space where I get to call myself national college football analyst at Fox Sports, and people raise their eyebrows and go like, you get to do what? And then they find this show and they get to watching the show and they get to see this version of me. And sometimes they even hear about the story about why is it he always says he's not on a step mill and kinfolk and those things. But one of the things that drives me is the representation in spaces like this. Okay. I don't mind telling you, I get to count folks like Bomani Jones as an acquaintance, dare I say friend. Joel Anderson as acquaintance, dare I say friend. I look up to them for quite some time. Bo was doing, satellite radio when I was in college, and I would wake up in the morning just to listen to the Morning Jones being broadcast out of Score with his homie Corey Erdman, thinking maybe I can do that, and following the playbook and building this thing in such a way that I get to do what I wanted to do with my life. And I continue to get to do that. But there's also great responsibility with that. I mean, I live in a part of Tulsa that is fair to say is brown and Black, right? And I take a lot of pride in that too. I don't live out in Bixby or Jenks or Sapulpa. And for those of y'all from Green Country, you know what I'm talking about. I stay on the north side. I should say. I stay my time on the north side, the east side where I call home, right? So when Sherrone Moore got to be the head coach at the University of Michigan, dog, I celebrated, man. I celebrated so hard. And I know that's really difficult for Michigan fans to hear because they think somehow I'm up against them. Nah, y'all be the ground we be fighting on. But I was rooting for that man in the most way because we black men don't generally get that spot, dog. You know, I was rooting for James Franklin at Penn State. You got to call it like you see it. When you suck, you suck. You know? But I'm rooting for him. I want him to keep that job for so long, and I want him to be so good at it. He was beating the brakes off Ohio State. Jim Harbaugh couldn't do that from the jump. You know what I'm saying? Turns out the loss that he took was also the last one that he would take as friggin' head coach at Michigan. Because he forgot. He forgot to put the privilege of his job first. The privilege of his family. The privilege of getting paid millions of dollars to be the head coach at the University of Michigan, man. Come on now. You know, like my grandmommy would have been so proud to hear me talking and waxing poetic about that, man, because she and many, many others put up with so much so he could get that shot, man. My mama integrated Jefferson Davis Elementary. I I went to that integrated school. I went to Jefferson Davis Head Start, dog. Like, President of the Confederacy. What are we doing out here? There's a research grant at the University of Southern Mississippi in my grandmother's name. It's where my mother went to school. It was a place where they weren't allowed to go to school just a few years before my mama graduated high school. You know what I mean? Like, that's big. That's huge. It's massive. So I was raised to celebrate black folks in high spaces. And I also was raised to understand that it's real hard to get there. It's even harder to stay there. There are all sorts of ways to fail and fall. And that man failed. And he's fallen. Judge put it this way at the sentencing. Frankly, Mr. Moore, you had no right to do what you did. I know she was placed in fear. It was a traumatic experience for you. It was certainly a traumatic experience for her, but you had no right to spread your pain to her. Full stop. Right there. Bang. Got him. Got him. Right there. And I would say that to anybody, right? Just because you are in pain does not mean you get to hurt people. Hurt people. We know that. But you have no right to do that. The circumstances that have come in your life are hard. They are difficult. They will get harder and more difficult still, I assure you. But you don't have the right to make someone else's life more difficult because yours is. What you have is the hope and maybe the privilege of people circling around you to raise you up when you can't raise yourself up. We know the names of the men who were holding up Moses so he could keep that Red Sea parted, according to the Old Testament. We know their names. We don't always know the names of the people that are doing it for us, or I should say, other people don't always know their names, but you do. The great privilege of being down like that man is down is you know who's down with you. Like his wife ain't gone nowhere. Psh, I know other women would have. His kids ain't gone nowhere. I have every right to say, nah, Dad, not like that. Got every right to do that. And I'm sure you got other homies that's around, right? They're going to be around. They're going to stick around. That's their man, $100,000. You know, holding down your man's on the corner, knowing he down, but you're going to help him out. Some of us, we go to the federal penitentiary to see our homies. Even when they don't want us to see them, and even when they refuse to come out to see me. But they know I showed up, and they're going to know I showed up. And I hope that Chiron Moore has that, because Lord knows he's going to need it more now than ever, man. Pressures of black folks. The hope that I have, especially in the writing of this book, is that I can convey for you a reality. And in conveying for you that reality of just how hard it is to say, be Lewis Hamilton. Like I'm going to go on the tangent here. Lewis Hamilton is a miracle. Lewis Hamilton is a miracle. You don't grow up in the projects and race F1 cars. It's not a thing anybody does. You need to be the son of a millionaire because it costs that much money just to go racing. You know, we all laughing about Lance Stroll getting lapped 14 times in a GT race because he ain't that good. He's never been that good. But his daddy's a billionaire, so he gets to drive that car. Next to one of the greatest race car drivers who's ever lived, in Fernando Alonso. Some of them have real talent. Max Verstappen, real talent. Lando Norris, real talent. But none of them come from where Lewis is coming from, man. He's coming from the council estates is the projects in England, dog. He raced remote control cars. His daddy was doing multiple jobs just to get him in a go-kart, and he happened to have the audacity to walk up to Ron Dennis and say, I want to race for you. I want to race McLaren. My idol is Ayrton Senna. I want to race for his team. That means racing for you. And Ron Dennis, Lord love him, was smitten. And he invested in Lewis Hamilton because he's a millionaire. And he could underwrite all of those that man's affairs. But the thing that Ron would also tell you, and you would only know this if you've done the reading like I've done the reading, hey, there was a time when Lewis was not winning races. And that is the only way you get to keep your sponsorship and your financial commitments is you got to go winning. And there was one spot where he needed to win a race or it was all gone. All gone. He won that race. Call it luck if you want to. I will call it a gift. And he's kept that going. And not only has he kept that going, he's one of just 2 men in the history of the world who's won 7 F1 world titles. Should be 8. We all know it should be 8. Even the dude that won it knows it should be 8. He's the first black driver at Ferrari, which is the best known car brand on the face of the earth. He's in his 40s. He's at Coachella right now. His lady is Kim Kardashian. He's a miracle. And like all of my black luminaries and miracles walking around, I fear for him because I know he is this close to it all going away every day. Just like Prime, Dion. Not the word, but Prime. You know, Will went on that stage and slapped the crap out of Chris Rock because he wanted to show his lady love. Do you know how bad it's going to be in this world if we all got to go punching each other so that we can keep our lady? Jada was like, oh, I didn't know that he loved me like that until he went up on stage on live television and smacked the crap out of Chris Rock. You know what would happen if you go up to another grown man and you smack him because your woman feels some kind of way? We squabbing. We squabbing for starts, but we all going to be squabbing because we all want to keep our lady. That's no way to be. Because they all went out in public and they talked about what Jada was doing when they were separated but were still married and the politics of that, man. And that's where Sherrone Moore found himself, having a relationship with a woman that ain't his wife that is at work. All right, it's a free game. It's a free game. It's a free game. Do not date at work. Here's some more free game. Do not date in the places that you frequent. If you go to the same gym, don't date at that gym. Why? Because if, perhaps when, a breakup comes, you not going to be going to that gym no more and you lose all those relationships, you lose all those people. You make that place a little bit more awkward for you. You need to be able to make sure your hobbies, the places you frequent, the people you like are nowhere near where you might go date. That's why some people, they go to a bar or whatever, they 1 time, 2 times, whatever. Makes it real hard to meet new people too, because most of us are creatures of habit and we go to the same places all the time. So the pool is very small. But I'm telling you, ain't no pain like the pain of not just losing that person, but losing your people and the places that you went. Because then you are unmoored and you're unanchored. That's where Chiron Moore is. It'll be a while before he's coaching. It's my thought. It's my theory. And I hope this is the end publicly of needing to talk about this in the way we're talking about this. All right, Chiron. Get back on that horse. Make your amends. Meme them. Hear people out. Get back to work. Because forever and ever, you still the first black man to be head coach at the University of Michigan. And I would like you to move through the world knowing what that is worth to the rest of us too.